One thing that separates a junior from a senior engineer is how security conscious they are. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how you can secure Docker image or secure container image. You can be using Docker, can be using Podman. The principle applies across all of these platforms. With the rise of AI, it is very easy for you to get a Docker file to run or to build your Docker image. A simple prompt with ChatGPT or even a simple search on Google can give you a Docker file in a split second. But the problem is how ready or how secure is those Docker images. Now, this is what separates junior or an experienced engineer from the other ones. Let's understand how security works in a Docker image. How can you secure Docker image? Now, when we're talking about security of an image or a container, it comes in multiple layers, right? And the first layer that you need to consider, or the first and most important layer, is the base image, because sometimes the base image is outside your control. The base image is built by someone else, right? You are just importing it or you are just calling it into your containers, so it is out of your control. However, you need to take responsibility, right, by ensuring that you are using the correct base image or scanning it extensively to reveal any vulnerabilities inside that base image. So your base image is the number one line of defense. Make sure that you are using a hardened base image and that image is coming from a trusted publisher. That's number one. And number two, make sure you are using a minimal base image. Now, sometimes I see people building containers with a full operating system. That doesn't make any sense. If your application needs only, for instance, it needs a runtime to just run the application, it doesn't make any sense that you are using a full-blown operating system to run your image. Now, the reason is because the more libraries, the more OS utilities that you have in your base image, the larger the attack surface, because if any vulnerabilities is detected in one of those utilities, it can be used as a backdoor to invade your container and then container breakout. The second thing that I want to talk about is your own application code. Now, if your base image is well secured, but your application code is not secure itself, that can also be a problem, because we've seen developers generating code from ChatGPT in secure coding practice. Maybe your code generated by your application or by your software developer does not validate or sanitize user input, and all of that. Those can be used as a backdoor to, run stuff like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, etc. So make sure that whatever application that you are using to build your image have been tested extensively. So you can use scans, right? Like SAST and SCA scan to scan your application extensively before using them to build your Docker image. This is the stage that you have responsibility over, because this is being developed by a software developer. So you need to incorporate some security checks to scan this code extensively using SAST to ensure that your application code are adhering to secure coding practice. And also, according to statistics, a huge portion of our application comes from open source, right? So open source are like libraries or frameworks that we use to build our applications. For instance, if you are building an application in Node.js, you have Express, which is like a framework. If you are using Python, we have Flask and Django. All of these frameworks can also have vulnerabilities. So it is very important that you are scanning these dependencies that our application code depends on. You are scanning them extensively to reveal if there's any vulnerabilities. And if there's any vulnerabilities, you have to remediate them as quickly as possible. So you can see that when it comes to scanning that, we can use SCA, which is software composition analysis, to scan those dependencies. Overall, you can see that securing a Docker image or a container is a layered approach. It is not just one thing that you need to do, right? It is a continuous process whereby you need to scan your base image, your application code itself. You need to be scanning them extensively to reveal or to see if there's any security vulnerability.